And go blue, everybody. We finally have a commitment. Nate Marshall commits to Michigan. It's all coming up next on Michigan Wolverines Live. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Michigan Wolverines Live. My name is John Diadamo, and I'm going to take you through the next hour or so. Before we get started, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend. What are you doing to beat Ohio State today? We are gaining on Ohio State's channel for subscribers for 2024, but we are still over 1,000 behind them. What are you doing to beat Ohio State today? Hit that subscribe button and let's get us up there to beat them. Also, don't forget to send us a super chat if you want your comment or question for sure read on screen. And then, of course, Mark Rogers every morning is now doing a show on the main channel called Wake Up College Football with football discussion and cooking segments. That's right, folks. Just the other day, Mark was making bacon and eggs on screen. It was very exciting. All right. We want to get right to it here with our first announcement. And so we are going to bring on our official new co-host of Michigan Wolverines Live, TJ, Ronin Sports Talk in the house.
Hey.
Congrats, TJ. Go blue.
Hey, thank you. Go blue. Extremely grateful and appreciative of the opportunity, and looking forward to talk Michigan football and then building with the community here because, our boy Moose and Michigan Independent Fanatic. Yeah, man. I mean, it's gonna be a good time, and I'm excited for this coming season.
Absolutely, and if you look at. We already have some. Yep, we've got some comments about it already. And yeah, so TJ, yeah, I mean, you have the last couple of months. You've been contributing. You've been bringing a perspective, especially with recruiting, portal, all of that. You're really honed in on that. So we try to find perspectives that because I'm not strong in everything, and I don't claim to be. And one of the things that I could do a better job at is recruiting, but you go hard in the paint with this stuff. And so I really appreciate you being on the show and making this happen. And congrats on, as Dependent Fanatic says, you deserve it. So congrats, TJ.
Yeah. Recruiting, love recruiting. And we got a bunch of good stuff today. If, just follow along and you'll hear the tidbits.
Absolutely. And also joining us to bring in the analytics perspective, who is the host of Smash the Numbers, our video series on Michigan football at the Voice of College Football. Ferris in the house. Ferris, go blue. Welcome back.
Go blue. Congratulations, TJ. I just wanted to point out that 71% of the earth is covered with water. John and TJ can cover Michigan football for the rest.
All right. Yeah, math works. Yeah, it works.
Whoa. Yeah, it checks out. There's some stats for you.
Yeah, just want to give you that stat, right? So I learned something new every time I listen to both of you. So I really love being part of this program.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, we like having you on it, man. Honestly. Extremely bright, Ferris. Really appreciate it.
And we have the other Ferris on here as well, so we appreciate the Ferris and Ferris perspective. And yes, Moose, you go hard in the paint on talking to these high school kids, and you take it to another level that I just don't have the time to. I wish I could. I wish I could be everywhere all at the same time and do everything. But Moose and TJ and you guys who are on it, like, I so appreciate it because you have the perspectives before a lot of us. And Jackson also reminding everybody to check out TJ, Ronin Sports Talk on Twix, and apparently YouTube channel too. So we'll be doing that. And then Ferris also, so on the links above, and absolutely check them out. So with that said, and yes, thank you, Jackson. And I know Moose also likes to post this, and thank you for that. We'll get to Amazon in a little bit as well. With all that said, if you missed our mega show that we did with Mark Rogers, voice of college football, on Saturday, we did a 2.5-hour call-in show on the spring game. So I strongly recommend, if you want our really fleshed out, detailed, play-by-play perspective of the game, definitely check that out. We took calls, some very unique individuals and personalities called in, and so we heard a lot of different members of the community. So thank you for that, and definitely check that out. But we do have some kind of wrap up takeaways. And somebody named RJ Young, who has not exactly been a friend of Michigan in the past, I think his eyes opened up after the national championship, because now all of a sudden he's saying the Michigan offense is like, it looks this in the spring game looked like the Kansas City Chiefs offense, which was a very interesting take there. I don't go that far. What I'm saying is the offense is a work in progress, but better than expected. Do we see where he's coming from with Kansas City Chiefs, TJ, or what was kind of your kind of take on it?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to think NFL offenses, that's not the one I would probably relate it to. But what I think I can agree with is what we mean by that is a high-powered, highly effective offense, which it is. I mean, we were scoring 35 points a game last season. This season, we're going to have a dominant offensive line with a good running game. I would almost relate it similar to San Francisco 49ers. But if we have the Alex Orji quarterback as QB1, obviously that won't be exact like it was last season. So I would expect a more dual threat option with Orji if he is QB1. But it should be, I mean, the offensive line should be dominant. Tight end game, George Kittle, San Francisco. We have some pretty interesting wide receivers right now. We have a wide receiver battle, in my opinion. I don't think it's settled. We definitely know the X position is a position where there's going to be a battle. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see another strong offense this season, especially with Donovan Edwards. He looks so good.
Oh yeah, back to form. We started to see it. We started to see it against Washington. That he was back, big game done, and now really looks like he's taken it up a gear. Ferris, when you looked at the offense, did you see the Kansas City Chiefs, or what did you see? When you looked at the offense, the maize and blue teams.
Yeah, I would agree with the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's a good take there. Just a note about RJ Young. So I believe he came close to going to Michigan for grad school. And I don't know, there's some bitter thoughts or something there. He said that he laughed. He was laughing when he went to the Michigan bookstore, he called it. I don't know what were exactly, probably the MDen or something. And he found a shirt that said, Michigan is just like Harvard, or something to that effect, right? So
yeah,
I think
I know that shirt.
Actually, what's that? Go ahead.
I know that shirt. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might have been Barnes and Noble.
Okay. All right.
It might have been that one.
Now, I believe the shirt actually says, it's got the Harvard symbol there. It says Harvard, the Michigan of the East. That's what that shirt actually says. So anyway, I take what he says with a pinch of salt. I would say the possibilities, we talked about this, I think, on Saturday. Mm-hmm. If Alex Orji is the quarterback, first of all, I want to just declare that I believe that Alex Orji can complete a forward pass. I think a lot of people think that somehow that's a miraculous thing to say, but I believe he can complete a forward pass. And not only that, I think he can get to, I think TJ's number was 60%. I think you might have said 65. I'll notch it down to about 60%. Can he be a 60%? Can he get to 60%? And can he get it to the tight ends? Can he get it to fast receivers on the sides, quick out kind of situations? Can he get some yards after catch? Can you throw it to somebody who's 6'7" and get a mismatch, 5, 6, 8, 10 yards down the field, and all of a sudden he's going another 10, 15 yards. I think that is the secret to their success. It does not mean, I don't think he has to air it out 70 yards. I don't think he has to do that often in the game. Keep them honest a little bit. And if he does all of that, if that all happens, I believe Michigan will, even against good teams, should get to 5 yards a carry, maybe even 5.5 yards a carry against maybe softer teams like Ohio State. I'm sorry. in the second half, let me put it that way. Right. So as Michigan might be wearing down the defense.
Absolutely. And we have another quarterbacks topic in a little bit too, another takeaway, but okay, this one's a little controversial. I know that some people on the panel don't 100% agree. So we like this. We like debate here at the Voice of College Football. I think we may have found our final wide receiver starter with Fredrick Moore. In the spring game, what he showed me was the beginning. I'm not saying he's Roman Wilson right now, but he showed me the beginning of the speed and the ability that somebody is going to need to have in that position to be able to break away against the Michigan defense, and maybe only half of the Michigan defense, but still, he showed what he could do against, in my opinion, the best defense he's probably going to face the entire season. The last point I'll mention, then I'll go to TJ's point on this, but as a senior, he had more than 1,500 receiving yards, 24 touchdowns. I get it's high school, but that's still pretty good. And I think he could be the guy. TJ, I know you're big on finding someone in the portal. Are you holding to that? Are you still thinking that the X position is going to be a portal?
Yeah, so I am still locked in on an X being a portal wide receiver, but I am buying stock in Fred Moore in the sense of I think there's going to be a battle at the Y and Z positions, and I don't think it's as cemented as people think it is. Where was Samaj Morgan in the spring game? I know he's dynamic. I know he's a very talented player, but consistency is key. And if any receiver does not show consistency, there is another receiver that's going to be at the heels. And I do think Tyler Morris is going to get either, and it's not solidified, like, is Tyler Morris a Z or a Y? He could play both. Samaj Morgan can play Z or Y. They both can play that. Fredrick Moore is no different, Yeah. Now I'll say this too, though. Let's say the portal doesn't work out the way we want it to. I'm more comfortable than I was about him filling in the X role, but I just think that we need a bigger body, more vertical receiver. Fredrick Moore is not very he doesn't seem to have a high vertical. He seems to be very quick, very fast, but we need somebody who can go and get a ball. So that's where I'm still still looking for a portal wide receiver, although I'm not hearing too much on a portal receiver yet. The portal's still open, so anyone can enter, but we'll just have to keep our ears to the ground and see what comes from that.
Let me take the logic flow on that one step further, and let me ask you, if you could pick somebody, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but if you could pick somebody in the portal or somebody for Michigan to go after at that position, who do you like? Well, all right. So a big one would be Keandre Lambert-Smith out of Penn State. So that's what I was thinking. That would be a big one. There's another kid. I can't remember his name, though. He just got in the portal from Arizona State. Okay. Now, word is we have reached out. And I should have his name, so that's on me. I should know his name. I didn't remember. The reason why I don't have it memorized is because potentially Elia Badger.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
He's looking for an NIL situation,
Badger.
And I don't know. Here's what we know about Michigan. Portal, they are willing to play the game. They are not willing to be highest bidder. So that's the issue with portal acquirement, player retainment, or what's what I'm looking for? I don't even know. But the point being is, like, we're willing to play ball. We're just not willing to be the highest bidder. So we'll see. Like the Nakai Hill Green, I don't know if you know this, or we'll talk about it later. But some interesting stuff with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Heard about Nakai Hill Green. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
there's more. There's more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, definitely remind yourself about that when we get to recruiting for sure. Ferris, what's your take on Fred Moore and just in general the wide receiver situation?
Well, first of all, that was he had a sweet reception there. I put in the chat that a DJ, are we looking for like a DJ Waller sized receiver, not on defense but on offense, a DJ Waller, that kind of size in a receiver, maybe, but also just kind of keep in mind we do have some giants at tight ends as well, and is it, are we tight end heavy? Are those the primary targets? Are the tight ends the primary target? So, just some thoughts there. We didn't talk about Kendrick Bell, Lamarion Stewart, Peyton O'Leary. So any of those, I was at the game. It's kind of hard to see everything that's going on. Any thoughts about kind of that second wave, second string, if you will, receivers?
I hope Kendrick Bell does well. Brother of Ronnie Bell. TJ, did you like him?
Yeah, I mean, but he's young. I don't think he's ready. He looks a little raw, to be honest. He's still learning the position. He's formerly a quarterback, right? Very athletically gifted, but not quite polished yet. And that's the thing too, is so if we look at Kirk Campbell's comments after the game, they said we are not looking for a quarterback in the portal. That's not going to happen. And they said we are looking to add a couple receivers in the portal. So there will be some portal acquisition. And that is the word I was looking for, by the way, was acquisition. But so I just think they're going to try and find the solution. I don't know who at the moment. There's not any smoke at this time.
And then what about Samaj Morgan? Why was he sort of?
Why was he what? Like MIA?
Yeah, I mean, in the spring game, I think you kind of hinting at Samaj Morgan didn't have the greatest spring game.
Yeah, he was very quiet. He just didn't.
I didn't see anything from him.
He just didn't seem to make plays, or his number wasn't called. Really, I mean, you could say maybe just the ball wasn't thrown his way. There was obviously obviously 4 different quarterbacks playing, so. And he had 2 different quarterbacks. So, I mean, maybe there's just no consistency, lack of chemistry. It could be a number of things. It's spring game too. And like we talked about with Mark, it's 1 of 15 practices. So maybe today wasn't his day. I mean, honestly, here's another thing too. And let's not forget this offseason, they're all going to get better. They're all going to get faster and they're all going to get stronger. So these kids, what we saw Saturday, come September, they're going to be even better. So I'm going to, in terms of individually, individual development. But I think Samaj could be the guy, man. He really could be a dude. It's just he's still young too. Remember, he's only a sophomore. He got playing time as a true freshman. Very hard to do.
Yeah, and maybe he was just put in a he's definitely starting type capacity where
I don't know.
They know that he's going to be a starting wide receiver and a starting return guy, and so you don't want to put him out there too long. Like Donovan Edwards was only out there for a couple, 1 or 2 series, so maybe it was the same type of situation.
So maybe. I want to hit on Peyton O'Leary because Corey's put him out there. Peyton O'Leary, he's like the he's like the Cinderella, we want to see it. Hey, maybe he can take the opportunity this fall and win. Unfortunately, he couldn't haul in that pass on Jair Hill that he almost lost him. That would have been amazing. But I mean, maybe Peyton O'Leary can be the dude this fall camp. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that Jair Hill play. It's just so weird when you're a Michigan fan watching a spring game. You're like, wait, you don't know which way to root, really. I tend to like defense more than offense, so maybe I'm rooting more on the defensive side. But then I do want Orji to complete passes. So
we lost you.
You're muted.
You muted
something
Ferris.
All of a sudden. Yeah. Yep. Still muted. But we'll let you work on that. we had you, but I think a wire got uncrossed because like you were going fine, and then all of a sudden it was off. But yeah, so yeah, I like O'Leary. I like the wide receivers that I saw, but I agree. I think I would have liked to see more from Samaj. And Tyler Morris as well. But again, they're starters, and definitely Tyler Morris is a starting wide receiver.
Yep.
So
he's locked in.
Yeah, for sure. So the defense side. So obviously we had some question marks about the offense, but how about some of the players on defense? Whether it was TJ Guy, Zeke Berry, there are some real standouts, and it seems like it's a situation where they're reloading instead of rebuilding.
Yep. It's gonna be a top 10 defense. It might be a top 5 defense. It could, maybe number 1. I don't know, but I do know it's gonna be an extremely difficult defense to score against, extremely difficult defense to throw on, because they're gonna bring pressure. Tons of guys. I mean, look at who didn't play, right? Will Johnson didn't play, Kenneth Grant didn't play, Mason Graham didn't play, right? Like we have studs at every level, all 3 levels on the defense. There are studs all over the place, and we have guys emerging at all 3 levels. You have TJ Guy emerging on the defensive line. You got DJ Waller emerging in the backfield. You got Jimmy Reuter emerging in the linebacker corps. Jay Sean Barnum, who's our new guy, who's, you could say he's emerging because he's still young. He has like 2 years of eligibility. So tons of youth developing. The defense looks good. Defense looks healthy. I'm hoping we can acquire some depth in the portal, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, man. I mean, the defense, in my opinion, is not a position, a side of the ball we need to worry about at all.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Cole Sullivan, hell yeah.
Cole Sullivan,
another one. That's what I mean. We're loaded, man. You can't even remember them all.
He's a dog.
Yeah. So I just want to see Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham together. John, you made a really interesting point of Michigan defense gave up 24 points. But it was for the whole game, right? So it wasn't really a defense and then an offense and then a defense, whatever. But it was for the whole game. It was split up. It'll be interesting to see how many teams in the fall get to 24 points against Michigan. And Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham were on 2 different teams. So I thought the defense looked great. It's just interesting because I thought they looked really good, but I thought the offense also had moments too. So it was kind of the best of both worlds, from my perspective. On the defensive side, I mentioned Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, and Will Johnson. I consider those the 3 superstars on defense. We'll see how things work with Zeke Berry, Quentin Johnson, and Makari Page, and but it seems like we're okay. I mean, it seems like things are good. So Rod Moore, I thought was going to be a big loss.
It still hurts.
Still hurts, yeah.
I'm sad.
Yeah,
I'm still sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad for him, for sure, and it's bad for us too. But I mean, for the team, but we seem to have next man up mentality here too. So,
yeah, I agree. I think we do have next man up mentality, which is I mean, that's the thing is, like, we really are a developmental university, but at a higher level than schools like an Iowa or a Wisconsin of old, right? Because Wisconsin's kind of taking a step back. But, listen, we have a healthy program, boys. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We are in a reload phase. And, I think we're going to be extremely competitive next year, both offensively and defensively.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Moose nailed it as far as the young guys coming up. Cole Sullivan looked really, really good. Zeke Berry, he also mentioned here, ridiculous. Somebody I didn't see a lot was Eno Etta, but he seems like he's going to also be a a promising piece. Maybe they were just keeping him out of a lot of contact. I don't really know, but he looked, he's somebody I've been pretty high on as far as who's going to, step up.
Yeah, he's had a lot of hype out of camp, and there's actually, I mean, like he's kind of becoming like a little bit of a vocal leader, almost like a little bit of an attitude. If you watch his interviews, he's kind of like, you can tell he's coming. He's on his way. He'll be a dude. But yeah, I think I don't know. I'm just excited, man. Like I feel so much better. Like, we should have did on that call-in show, John. We, maybe, I don't know. We should have asked people, are you more optimistic post spring game or less optimistic? Like, what is the gauge?
Yeah.
I think majority of us would say we're a lot more optimistic after that spring game. I think a lot of us got a lot of comfort and answers. And I'm just excited. I'm ready for the season, but now I gotta wait. Sucks.
Well, let's ask the chat.
Yeah.
Chat. If you watched the spring game, and I hope you did if you're watching Michigan Wolverines live in April, I hope you watched the spring game or got a recording of it on YouTube TV or something, or regular YouTube. And do you feel more or less confident about the 2024 season after what you saw in the spring game? Let's see what happens in the chat here. Tom says more, so that's good. Let's see. More, okay. And we'll just keep this going throughout the show. We'll just keep at, people can keep chiming in. Ferris, any final thoughts on the defense?
Well, while I was muted, the one thing I just wanted to say is probably my favorite when we saw the Michigan offense against the Michigan defense. In particular, I really enjoyed when we were going all out playing actual tackle football.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were running right up the middle, and everyone was trying to tackle. Some other schools don't really do that, and it was great. It just felt good to see. I mean, obviously nobody got injured, but in particular, probably Donovan Edwards. If you remember some of his, he only had 5 carries, I think. But each one of them, it looked like people were putting in max effort to try to tackle him. And it was, I found that more fun than some of these mismatch games that we're in, that in the fall. So I personally, I really enjoyed that. Glad nobody got hurt. I will say that, but
yeah, that's actually a great point. I didn't even really think of that. Yeah, we came injury free, which is great. And Donovan Edwards made the most of his carries, man. I think everybody watched Donovan Edwards and was like, okay, he's ready. Like he looks like he has patience. Looks like his vision's improved. I mean, he just looks good.
Yeah, and we did it. We were injury free while playing real football. We played real football on Saturday, as opposed to some other spring games that had happened, including the certain team down south. A lot more up and down, a lot more going back and forth between tackle and two-hand touch. But the only people that were on touch were the quarterbacks. So the quarterback, and I understand why they had the quarterbacks kind of protected, and I understand that. But at the same time, it was a joy to watch, absolutely joy to watch. So before we continue here, we do want to remind everybody that when you're doing your shopping on Amazon, as many of us do from time to time, we've got a link in every single description of every single video on our network that'll support the voice of college football if you go do your shopping. So do that and help support us. And then if you want to join our Patreon or become a YouTube member for as low as $2.99, you can have access to our Discord chat. Either way, it helps support Mark and it helps support what we're doing here. So we appreciate everybody who helps out there. So we talked a little bit about quarterbacks already. But, it's pretty clear after watching that Alex Orji and Davis Warren are the top 2. You can slot them 1 and 2, and I think we'll have some debate over where they should be. I will say before we get into Orji and Warren that Jaden Davis, considering he's a freshman, considering I understand he was with the team for the Natty for the play, like he was with the team for December, January. However, the fact that to me he looked like the third like number 3, which is pretty surprising because he's not there are multiple other quarterbacks also on the roster, but he to me looked like the number 3 based on his ability to put the ball in the right spots, to make reads, and I think somebody mentioned that almost catch to Peyton O'Leary that had that gone, that would have been something. But it was the Michigan defense, whereas he's gonna have to face the Fresno State defense when he plays in garbage time. So he might look really good in garbage time against some of these teams soon. I'm pretty excited to watch Jaden, TJ.
Yeah, I think regarding the quarterbacks, I think we do have a very good situation where if it is Davis or it is Orji, we have a Power 5 caliber starting quarterback. And I do think Orji's got the lead simply because he has a higher ceiling. I do think the program's investing in him in the sense of like just more attention. It just seems that way. But Davis Warren definitely is making it a battle. And I was telling John before the show, I rewatched the game, and Davis Warren was very impressive. I mean, he was very impressive. I mean, just watching his form and his calmness in the pocket, and he is the only quarterback on Saturday who was going through all of his progressions. It seemed like he had the offense down. I mean, he really looks like a veteran out there. And if he does win the battle, I'm okay with that. So we'll have to see. We'll wait till hear about fall camp and what leaks. And then in regards to Jaden Davis, I mean, look, he's a leader. He seems to be very, very advanced for his age. He doesn't look like he doesn't act like a freshman. He's very mature. He's learned. One of his mentors is JJ. So I just think we have a very promising future quarterback that I was actually thinking, I wonder if he is going to get garbage time reps, because I think, let's say Orji wins the battle. They might give those reps to either to Warren, or if Warren wins the battle, they might give those garbage time reps to Orji to keep him sharp. So, and if not those two, I think they might put Jack Tuttle ahead of Davis, simply due to age or being a 7th-year senior. But I think, I don't know. I'd be surprised. I'm interested to see if they do give Davis some run in the regular season. Plus, he can only play. Remember this too, though. He can't play any more than 4 games,
right?
Because then he burns his red shirt. So
yep,
we'll have to see how it goes. And I think we want to red shirt him. So
yeah, makes sense. Ferris, what's your take on what you saw with the quarterbacks?
A few weeks ago we were talking about Alex Orji versus Jaden Denegal. And we didn't really mention Jaden Denegal, have we? So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Is it one practice out of 15 and he did okay elsewhere? He is actually the one who has completed forward passes in 2023, something Orji has not done, even though he was in, big time situations. But I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in this room, and he may be, if we're going to lose a transfer, maybe that's a question. I mean, I'm just asking the question, that may be a question mark, that he might be the one that decides to leave, perhaps.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If anyone were to transfer, I think it would be him. I don't think any of the other quarterbacks would transfer at this time.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we were also talking about a few weeks ago, a 2-quarterback system. Alex Orji and Warren, could that work? Yeah, if my point is, it's not very common, but if it were to work, it would work if the team buys into it. First of all, you trust both and understands both quarterbacks, and also that the 2 quarterbacks are different enough that it's disruptive to the defense of the other of the opponent. So if that's the case, there are already packages for Alex Orji. So, if he's not the quarterback, I don't see how he's not going to come in maybe in 4th and 2 situations or goal line or whatever. He may be in different situations if he's not actually the starting quarterback.
Yeah, Orji plus somebody. Moose bringing up an interesting point that maybe they could do what they did with Cade and JJ and do an audition and use game one. I think the only way they do that is if there isn't a clear emerging quarterback after fall camp and there's still a question mark, then sure, I would like to see both of them get a full half in game one then, because we kept seeing them get rotated in and out, and that messes with the rhythm of everything. They were in the at Warren and Orji were in at the beginning, and then they were in at the end, and then in the middle we had Jaden Davis and Denegal, and we didn't really get into a rhythm with it. At least with 2 quarters you can establish something during that time. So if they still don't know, then maybe.
Well, I mean, the only other thing I'll say is that it could also be, to a certain extent, situational. And maybe this is that quote unquote garbage time thing. If Michigan's up by 10 points, 14 points, you probably want somebody like Orji there, to just move the ball, see if you can get 5 yards of carry, see if you can, just keep mostly rushing, right?
Yeah,
and if they're behind, if they're in trouble, if you need to pass more, and you're thinking, this is all the premise that Alex Orji cannot complete very many forward passes. I think he can, but
yeah.
Based on that premise,
and
you put in the more passing oriented quarterback, right? So,
well, he had some chemistry with Zach Marshall at the end there. I noticed Zach Marshall was somebody who he went to a decent amount there. I know he's a tight end, but look, I mean, sometimes that's all you need. I mean, Cade McNamara was mostly throwing to tight ends. Occasionally he would throw to a wide receiver, but he usually would check there's a reason they call him check down Cade. He checked down to the tight ends a lot. And guess what? It worked until basically Georgia. So when you add Orji's legs to that equation, imagine Cade with legs. I mean, that would have been ridiculous, right? Well, now you've got Alex Orji. If he can get to 60 to 64%, add the legs, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, last but certainly not least, I'm not saying will yet, but I'm saying based on what I saw, I think it is now possible that Michigan could go 10-2, make it through the playoffs, and repeat as national champions, based on the fact that was probably the best defense Michigan's going to face until Oregon, at least. And that's if we're being generous. Otherwise, probably late in the playoff.
Ohio State.
What? Ohio State. That's true. Ohio State's built up their defense a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, my position is this. As the roster stands, I think we can be a playoff team. I think being a playoff team is a thing. As the roster stands, I don't think we have enough to be a national champion. But add a wide receiver, add a right tackle, because there appears to be smoke that they're not comfortable at right tackle. Andrew Gentry is just not consistent. The other 4 seem very locked in and cemented, which would be Miles Hinton, Josh Prevey, Crippen, and then Giovanni El-Hadi. That seems to be the 4 who are locked in, and then the right tackle seems to be a question mark right now. Get us a right tackle, get us an X wide receiver, get another corner for competition, which they seem to want to do. I agree. Jair Hill and DJ Waller look good, but the word is out of Ann Arbor that they want to get another corner to battle with them. They want to get linebacker depth. They want to add a defensive tackle to play nose tackle next to Rayshon Benny. So you got to add that, which we'll talk about coming up. And then another safety. We need to add another safety for depth reasons. And then if we can add majority of those positions, I mean, mainly if we can add I know I'm running here, but a wide receiver, a right tackle, a corner, and a defensive tackle, I'm comfortable, and I could say we could probably compete for a national title.
Boom. Bears.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just put in the optimistic point there. Regression to 10-2 on their way to a title. Okay. All right. Well, here's how I look at it. They have to take care of business. They had a lot of good luck last year. Let's be honest, right? Injury wise, they had to do something to beat Ohio State. Things could have gotten fluky at the end there. They had to do something at the end. They had to complete a 4th down pass in order to beat Alabama. They had to have a drive, stop Alabama, then have another drive to win that, and then stop Alabama again to win that game. So there a lot, an analytics person saying luck is a big factor. Okay, that being stated, the bar to get into the playoffs is so much lower. Many, many years over the last X number of years, the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game, it was all or nothing. The winner gets what they want or gets to the place they want to be. The loser, that's it. That's their whole season is ruined. That's not going to happen anymore. The game is going to be more like a game from my point of view. And all you have to do is punch your ticket to get in. Make sure that you're healthy. Maybe Alex Orji is not doing too well at the beginning. That maybe he lost the game, or Michigan loses the game against Texas, but then he kind of replicates the trajectory of Milroe, and by the end of the year, he's a good, very good, excellent, maybe even excellent quarterback, dual threat quarterback. That's the path. Now, our schedule is a lot harder this year than it was last year, but on the other hand, the bar is lower to get in. So I would say once you're in, then let's just have some fun once we get there. I just want to get.
I think we're gonna drop a game or two. I think I think only the most optimistic, and there is somebody in here saying 12-0, Borge Warner, but I think most fans, except for the most optimistic, are expecting to drop 1 or 2. But even if you drop 1 or 2, you're still in the playoff with the 10-2 or 11-1, especially Big Ten, and especially with the strength of schedule. Like Michigan has an actually good, decent strength of schedule this year.
It's like the toughest schedule all year. It's the toughest schedule in the nation. It's insane.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe Florida has a harder one. That's about it.
These guys had something to do with those clutch plays against Alabama too. Wasn't all luck. They had something to do with it too. But
I'm just saying one little fluke. That 4th down play was maybe a foot away from being deflected. Or maybe even less, 6 inches away from being deflected. Absolutely. So, we should count our blessings for that. We've had a lot of bad luck over the years, so that. So I will say they can get into the playoffs. If they can get into the playoffs, they can win the whole thing. Just
Absolutely.
Just quick statistical note. Most people think, they're going to be favored in 9 games, and they're going to be the clear underdogs in 3 games: Oregon, Ohio State, and Texas. Okay, even if they have a 1 in 3 chance of winning each of those 3 games, I'm just giving you a statistical, just add up the numbers. You have a greater than 50-50 chance of winning 1 out of those 3 games. You could win 2 out of 3, but winning 1 out of those 3 games. If they win one out of those 3 games, and they finish the year 10-2, very high likelihood that they're in.
Yeah.
Yep,
absolutely.
I agree.
Well, Moose, you asked for recruiting, and I think we're all excited to talk about some recruiting news. Sharon Moore got his first commitment in the Sharon Moore era, and it was, by the way, the #1 defensive end in the country for the 2025 class, Nate Marshall. So we do have some tape on this. TJ, number 35 overall, number 4 D lineman, period, #1 in Illinois. I mean, this guy has some accolades to him here.
Yeah, this guy is a monster. Okay, this is just watch his tape, man. I mean, honestly, straight dog. This is a cornerstone player. This is the type of player you build a class around. He wants to build a class. Word is out of Ann Arbor, he's going to shut down his recruitment and start recruiting. If you just watch
Wow.
his tape, you can see it. This is a man amongst boys. He's already 6'5", 265. He's a monster. Look at him. Like, that kid's enough to get out of my face, you know? Like, this kid here is – I mean, this wasn't even supposed to happen. This was a surprise commitment. So the fact that Lou Esposito was able to pull this off is amazing, just a show of his recruiting abilities. And, they knocked it out of the park with this. And not only is this commitment big because it's Sharon Moore's first commitment, but what it's going to do in terms of a ripple effect, right? So he's really good friends with Jalen Williams, who's a defensive tackle out of Illinois. Hey, John, can we mute that?
Yeah.
Did you hear
sorry.
that? Yeah, let's mute
No.
that. But yeah, Jalen Williams out of Illinois, he's a pretty big recruit, defensive tackle. They're really good friends. I wouldn't say they're best friends, but they're really close, really good friends. And we already lead for Jalen Williams. So landing Nate Marshall should net us Jalen Williams, who's a top 150 recruit out of Illinois defensive tackle. Another big recruit that this will also pay dividends on is a defensive a rush end, Marco Jones out of California. So he's a big time recruit, and he was on campus with Nate Marshall this weekend, and apparently all accounts are they were like they were hip and hip. They were by each other the whole time. And the weekend really left a big impression on Marco Jones. So those are two players I would keep an eye on with the Nate Marshall commitment. I think he might be able to reel them both in. Rumor is that Marco Jones is going to knock his teams down to 4 teams by Friday. We'll see. He's going to set 4 official visits. So we'll see on that. So incredibly encouraging. Also, I will say, we have been looking for NIL indications. Are we seeing it at the high school level? Now, I'm not willing to say this absolutely shows it, but this is potentially a tell. There is some news on another recruit who we got a crystal ball for today, who is Marquise Davis.
Yeah.
Major. Okay,
If
people have not seen this kid's highlight tape yet, or if you have not looked into Marquise Davis, all right, I'm gonna tell you now. Look into Marquise Davis because he got 2 crystal balls today, and not only that, word out of Ann Arbor is a commitment is coming at any time. It could be today, it could be tomorrow. It's whenever he's ready to pull the trigger. All right, so whenever Marquise Davis is ready to commit to Michigan, is when it's going to happen. It's going to be sooner than later. That's what I know. So. Major get out of Cleveland, Ohio, another victory over OSU. This was a major target for Ohio State, and word is we're going to land them. So I highly recommend anybody go to Marquise Davis's huddle tape and watch this kid because he has top end speed, his vision, his balance, incredibly gifted running back. This kid's a stud, man. Like the fact that Tony Alford was able to pull him is huge, and also. Like me and John were talking about, I guess Tony Alford can still recruit because this is amazing.
I thought he was washed up.
Yeah. I also want to add, I missed this on Nate Marshall. We beat Alabama and Miami for Nate Marshall.
Yep.
Okay. So those are major NIL players and major programs in the South that we were able to win. So this is a good sign for recruiting. There's a lot of buzz right now. Another player we'll hit on is Avery Gatch. So he was going to wait to make a decision till the summer, but all indications are there's going to be a decision sooner or later. I would say Marquise Davis and Avery Gash are on commit watch. So we may get commitments from both of them this week. I'd be willing to bet Marquise Davis. You can probably lock that in. Avery Gatch, we'll have to see. I think it will be this week, but considering he wanted to wait until the summer to do it, maybe he'll wait another week. I don't know, but he's definitely on the verge of committing. And then I want to hit on Douglas Utu, offensive tackle out of Bishop Gorman, Nevada, a former teammate of Micah Capana. All indications out of Ann Arbor is that we are leading for that, and this is a major top 100 offensive lineman. All right, this is a major get. He's not a big fan of the recruiting process. He's ranked 66 overall in the composite. This is another major get. So the offensive line situation at Michigan right now, in terms of recruiting is going so well. They're now limiting their net. They're telling kids, and they've already received word from a kid tried to commit already, and Michigan had to turn him away. That's how good the offensive line recruiting is going. They're looking to add 3 guys this class, although they will add a 4th if it's an Andrew Balboa or a Michael Carroll. Those guys are extremely highly rated prospects, like 5-star level guys. So of course they'll take them if they can pull them. But they're standing in a good place for Douglas Utu, Avery Gosh, and then I don't know who the 3rd is at the moment, like the 3rd guy they're targeting. I mean, they want Andrew Balboa, but we'll have to see because he's a 5-star. It won't be that easy to pull. But I mean, things are just trending really well right now for recruiting. After the spring game, it just seems like a fuse was lit, and the fireworks are going on right now.
Well, the fuse, it would have been nice for the fuse to be lit, a little sooner given the national championship. But I understand, and I defended it in terms of all the other stuff Sharon Moore had to deal with, including building a staff, especially on the defensive side of the ball after the exodus to the Chargers for a lot of them. But Ferris, TJ laid it out pretty well there on the recruiting side. Seems like things are going all right there.
It's just TJ's been down. I could feel it in his voice for a couple of weeks. He's got the excitement. I just love listening to TJ when we're we're talking recruiting.
Yeah, it's not only like there's just so much good happening right now with the recruiting situation because like the visits they're hitting out of the park, the NIL is improving. The kids are way more receptive to their pitch right now. So Michigan's NIL, they're not willing to be the highest bidder, but they're also not non-existent. Okay. So that's where they are right now with NIL. I'm still trying to get a full grasp on the high school side of things. I'm getting a little indication here and there. I have reached out to a person who I haven't heard back from yet. I'm hoping sometime this week they'll get back to me, but the Marquise Davis and the Nate Marshall commitments are really good signs that the NIL is competitive. So let's watch and see. I think we can start getting excited about recruiting again.
Yeah, because Nate Marshall, right? He like you said, Alabama wanted him, Miami wanted him, Ohio State wanted him, and aren't they all throwing bags around? So
They are, and Miami is, and word is Miami is going to keep trying. But word is Nate Marshall has said he's locking it down, and he wants to recruit for the class. So I mean, this is huge, man. Like this is like I can't even stress. For example, Nate Marshall's ranked number 35 on the composite. We have had one top 100 player in the last 2 years. We just got one, and we're trending for a few more right now. So. Let's see, man. I mean, this is what we're looking for. This is how Michigan can maintain its superiority in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I know we're all impatient about this, but all's well that ends well. We have to realize that Michigan has not had the infrastructure. I mean, I'm just going to be transparent here. The infrastructure for other teams has been there for years, if not decades. But for Michigan, it has not been there. So this is all new. This is all sort of foundational things that they have to figure out. So I think we're finally getting there. That's great. Yeah, and we don't have to be whatever you want to call it, the biggest bag.
Miami.
We don't have.
We don't got to be Miami or A&M, right?
Yeah, as long as we're getting the right fit for Michigan, and also we're not having movement out. Like after a year or two, we can keep players with us by and large.
Right.
Yeah. It's and don't worry about being blunt, Ferris. Somebody's got to be America's honesty broker here. And that's Michigan Wolverines Live. We try to be the honesty brokers. Sometimes we're going to be sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes we have to tell it like it is. And everybody needs to understand that we got to do that. So
yeah, for years
I agree with you.
Yeah, for years we thought of this as I didn't really think of Michigan as being on a level playing field with let's just I'm not going to talk about Ohio State. Let's just talk about the SEC, right? So we were not on a level playing field with that entire, or the top half of the conference. Let's put it that
Yep.
way. Maybe now in this new world, we are. So that's great to even consider that, at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to add. I didn't mention. So in terms of portal,
Yes,
right
I
now,
was literally just about to ask you about Portal. Yeah.
I didn't want to miss it. So right now, I would keep an eye on CJ West, defensive tackle out of Kent State. He's going to be visiting Wisconsin, but his visit for Michigan's coming up. I think it's next Tuesday. That's looking good. And if we can land him, this is a major get. This guy is not just a depth piece. He's actually starting caliber, but he's willing to come here and rotate because we rotate our defensive linemen. That's the word out of Ann Arbor. He's okay with the rotation idea. And, he would give Kenneth Grant a little break at the nose tackle position, and a major addition if we can land him, I would say so. And then also Nikhil Green is back on campus for a second time in 2 weeks. That seems to be trending. But there also appears to be hurdles that have to be – I don't know what those hurdles are, by the way. But the reason why that's not being announced or isn't already done is because apparently there's just some tape that has to be figured out. But Nikhil Green and CJ West are the two names to keep an eye on. I am very confident there's going to be more names in the coming weeks.
All right. So Sharon's cooking.
Yeah, they're cooking. Yeah, especially so. Also, because the spring practices are essentially done, their focus is on the portal and recruiting right now. They're all in. Like it's 100% all hands on deck.
Got it. Well, definitely watch this space. A lot more to come on everything. Now that things are ramping up, Michigan has a general manager. Michigan has a business development NIL person. And the partnerships are ramping up, and now we're starting to see the very beginnings of what that result is that we're beating Alabama and Miami and Ohio State for somebody.
Yep.
That's
true.
That's legit. That's
what's up. Yeah.
Okay. With that said, Ferris. So we have, as everybody knows, here at the Voice of College Football Michigan channel, we have various content series that we do, and even more are coming. And you're going to meet some people in a little bit here. But smash the numbers. So the NFL draft is starting Thursday, and we have discussed JJ McCarthy quite a bit. But Ferris, I know you have some tidbits on all the position groups, and you're going to be sharing it in the coming days too.
Yeah. I mean, we have so much content. So half the people who are listening, or probably more than half the people who are listening right now, are not subscribers. Please help us get to 7,000 subscribers. We're getting there. Please help us get there. Specifically, I'm doing, my part in this is to try to do some analysis that's a little bit more analytics focused. There are 11 players that potentially could be drafted on offense. Now, a lot of these players are high in the first few rounds. They're going to be no brainers. They'll get drafted. There are probably some that are kind of borderline as well. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction, both offense and defense, but I just wanted to point out offense was 10 players, maybe over 15 total players, maybe 16, maybe 17. Who knows? Are we going to break the record? If we break the record, by how many are we going to break the record in terms of players that get drafted? And will it be? Will some of these be invites instead of getting drafted? Maybe. We'll take a look at that as well. And the final point is JJ. We've been talking about JJ for a little while, for a couple of weeks, and will he be top 10? I think yes. Will he be top 5? High probability. Will he be top 3? Maybe. There was some talk that Chicago was considering him at number 1 as one of 2 finalists. So I know the outside world and Ohio State fans think that's crazy, but I'm going to do an analysis of JJ at number 3. I think that's reasonable. Number 3, number 4. How does he match up with that second tier? I did a detailed analysis, but I want to specifically kind of think about him in that sort of second tier of quarterbacks and kind of how he fits directly against May. So look for that before the draft on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on Caleb Williams too much, but he had a pretty damning interview that came out where he was still bitter about Oklahoma picking Spencer Rattler over him, even though he was a freshman and Spencer Rattler was the projected number 1. And I don't blame Lincoln Riley at all for playing him for a couple of games. Caleb eventually proved himself and won the job, though. He got the opportunity to win the job. So what's the sour grapes going on here? I don't know, so that's the kind of stuff that you start to move down the draft board.
And just think about these. Yeah, how happy JJ was to be second fiddle and learn and then take over eventually. So
yeah, there's something not right with Caleb Williams. I'm just gonna. There's a red flag there. There's something. I don't know. There's something off. I don't know fully what it is. I know it's ego to an extent, but there's something more going on.
Absolutely. So Ferris, Smash the Numbers series. We'll be looking forward to that. Any other final thoughts for us?
I am in the process of selling my house, so I don't know for sure that I can do this, but I'm going to try to go to the draft on Thursday. If anyone's going, let me know.
Wow. Okay.
I met some people at the spring game. That was a lot of fun. Hoping that if I go to the draft, maybe we can meet up as well. So
there you go. Watch this space. Ferris might be showing up at the NFL draft. So we will be looking forward to it. And we appreciate you bringing your analytics to the Smash the Numbers series and to this show. So thank you very much, Ferris, and go Blue. And we'll see you soon.
Go Blue. Thank you.
All right, see you, Ferris.
All right, so TJ, we have the Smash the Numbers series. We've got the Michigan Wolverines live. We've got Mark Rogers, voice of college football, doing videos. And now I want to introduce two guys, and I'm going to be on their show at some point as well. But we've got Cliff and Mac, who are hosts of the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. And we'll be doing some content on Michigan Wolverines Live. Cliff and Mac, welcome.
Thank you.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Feeling better now that we got to commit. So things are looking up.
Yeah, voice of college football recruiting to the moon, right? Just
going up.
That's the idea.
Yep. I was just thinking it's pretty exciting because it seems like in years past, and maybe not over the last 3 or so, but Michigan recruiting has always been, they got a couple of guys. They're doing okay. And now it's like they're actually bringing in some of these, what we would regard as star players. But by the same token, Mac and I talk about this all the time. We keep going back to that Herb Brooks mentality, the 1980 Olympic hockey team of you don't want the best players, you want the right players. And thankfully, Harbaugh was able to put that together, at least starting in 21. He started putting together the right players, not necessarily the best players. And we'll see how Sharon does since we've got a couple coming in now.
Right.
But I'm pretty excited.
My only thing is, TJ, I didn't hear you mention a wide receiver when you were talking transfer portal. Any news on that?
Not, unfortunately, no names are popping up. I mean, I know they reached out to the kid from Arizona State, but you know, he's bag hunting. So I don't know. I know Michigan does not. They will not be highest bidder. They are telling recruits. They're telling recruits that. They're telling portal kids that we are not going in bidding wars. This is what we can offer. This is the situation. And, you know, if Michigan's the right place for you, then we want you. If it's not the right place for you, then we're just going to move on. And they've already done that. Like, there's been a couple kids already they've already done that with. So
good.
We'll see.
Well, didn't Jim Harbaugh say something about when he was coach? He wanted the players to, you know, have the transportation, like be able to get around, have enough money where they don't have to bag groceries, right? Not that there's anything wrong with bagging groceries, but these kids are freaking busy with all the practices and everything. So I see where he's coming from with that. But again, we're not going to be giving $5 million to somebody, but definitely trying to set them up a little bit.
Well,
yeah, Go on.
Well, I'm sorry, TJ. I was just going to say, I think it's interesting, though, because, I mean, for as long as we've dogged on Michigan's NIL, they did just win a national championship. And the way they did it was with players who actually wanted to be at the program, not players that they had to pay to get there. And I'm going to crap on Ohio State. Like, I'm really interested to see how this $13 million experiment goes. But
it's more now.
Is it more
18
now?
million. Yeah, they're at 18 now. So that's the word. It's at 8. It's last year was 13. They lost. So 13 million didn't work out. So they had to go to 18. But
they had to go to 18.
Yeah, I mean, the argument to be had though is a lot of the players that we won with were pre-NIL guys, and like your JJ and your Blakes, right? So that's the argument, and it's subjective arguments, right? But the good news is this: in the NIL era, we survived to this point. And hopefully we can evolve enough to at least be competitive enough to get enough talent to remain, a top dog in the Big Ten and college football. So, we'll see. It's encouraging. Things are, no question, improving. To what extent, time will tell.
Yeah, but we also need to not mistake the fact that Michigan's NIL may not be at the same level as Ohio State's or Georgia or whatever other school, simply because Michigan does NIL differently. I mean, those other teams are dropping bags to bring in the best recruits. Michigan's dropping what they can offer to bring in the right recruits, and that needs to stay the case.
Right, and that's actually the fun thing, right? We get a little bit of an experiment of what is the right approach in the NIL era, because you are seeing with an A&M or a Miami or a Colorado, these kids are bolting after every season. So if Michigan can, I'll tell you this, if Michigan can continue this success with this type of approach, you'll see other universities try and copy it. But time will tell. We'll see how Sharon does with it.
Well, Mel Tucker was kind of taking the same approach as Coach Prime was for a second there. And I don't know if you guys saw the news today, but like half of MSU's rosters in the transfer portal now. Like, what is going on?
Couldn't have happened to a better program.
I know, right?
Colorado's lost a lot of guys too, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
A handful at least. Yeah.
It's an unhealthy environment. I mean, you have to have a balance. Unfortunately, the NCAA is not giving these schools any guardrails to protect themselves. So you're seeing all this unfortunate handing out of money, and you got players who feel entitled to ask for more. And and not only that, like, there's agents now. You're not talking to kids' parents. You're talking to agents, right? And then what's best for an agent who's getting commission? More money. So unfortunately, these kids are being persuaded into bad situations at a young age, and it's just the unfortunate environment of college football right now.
If I remember, that's one of the things that Harbaugh was worried about too, because he has the experience with the agents, and like you said, TJ, they're not interested in the kid. They don't want to take care of the kid. They want to make sure their bank account is full.
That's right.
And they'll do what they have to make sure they get the highest paycheck. So,
I mean, if we look at the Nicholas Harbor recruitment of last year, it was between us and South Carolina and Oregon, and his advisement group chose South Carolina for that very reason. So, and he was trending Michigan up until the final 2 months of the recruitment, and then Oregon and South Carolina started to pull ahead. I mean, it's just it is what it is, and hopefully our culture can maintain and we keep winning. That's just what it is.
Well, it was when Dante Moore entered the transfer portal too. I saw a lot of Michigan fans were like, maybe he'll come here after all. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want him. Like, he's just bag chasing,
If he can grow and evolve, though, right? Like, it's possible. But I mean, look, where'd he go? Where did Dante go again?
Oregon, right?
Right. So, obviously he's he went where he was originally committed. So. We'll see. I mean, he took money from them, and then he took a little less money to go to UCLA just to start, because he was committed on starting his freshman year, and it didn't work out too well. So, we'll see. I mean, we'll play him, so we'll see how it goes.
And it didn't work out for Chip Kelly either, though.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, he says, hey, I just wanted to coach. I just wanted to coach football. I don't want to deal with any of the other stuff. I just want to coach X's and O's, and
he's got a point.
I don't blame him completely for that. So guys, so obviously, I'm sure not everybody here watches your content. Hopefully, some people do. We want to encourage everybody to follow you guys at BIG Team Rivalry. but also
B1, 1G. It's just like Big Ten. B1G team rivalry.
B1G team rivalry. and so for those of you for people who are just getting an introduction to you guys, what types of content are you going to be putting out there for Michigan football, the voice of college football?
Extremely mediocre.
Okay, so everybody get your bookmarks ready.
Yeah,
for extremely mediocre content.
Yeah,
I love it.
Under promise, over deliver. That's what we go for.
Exactly. Well, and not even really over deliver, just kind of like just barely get to the line deliver kind of a thing.
Our channel slogan is expert trash talk, mediocre analysis. So we head over more towards the SEC shorts kind of stuff.
Only live
without the actors.
That's good. That's pretty funny. The SEC shorts.
Oh, they're hilarious.
We aspire to that. We aspire to that.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
we like to think of ourselves as a more I don't know, entertaining sort of channel than analytics, I guess. But the only reason we say that is neither of us really wanted to look into stats and numbers until we finally started getting some subscribers, and now we're kind of trying to up our game a little bit that way. So yeah.
And then we realized that people expect us to know what we're talking about, and we thought we gotta learn some stuff.
Well, Ferris is saying nice things here.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Ferris.
Yeah,
he's seen your stuff and he likes it. So so definitely check it out. And we're going to be looking forward. So Michigan football, the voice. If you aren't subscribed yet, folks, what the hell are you doing? You've got our weekly show. You've got Mark Rogers content that he does with Nelson and Tanner and Isaiah Hull and all kinds of people and Steve Dace. You've got Ferris Khan Smash the Numbers. Now we've got Cliff and Mac delivering content. Probably some more recruiting videos as well coming. Like you got to be on Michigan football, the voice of college football.
Mm-hmm. It's all about having fun. One of the things we talked about on our channel is, make football fun again, because like we were just talking about, it's all the money, all of the hype and the agents out there. We just want to have fun with football. So we like to get people engaged in the chats. We spend a lot of our show just talking to people in the chat and just getting that engagement going. It's just like having the guys around the campfire talking football. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, where everybody on Twitter is debating who's got the best helmet in college football for the 50 billionth time.
Michigan.
I mean, yeah, it's Michigan. We've covered this. We've covered this 50 billion times, literally. Like, we talk about other things, though.
We're excited to be working with you guys. I love watching your show, too. I think it's
Thank you.
You guys know your stuff. I aspire to be like you guys. So
thank you.
I really appreciate what you guys do. So, yeah.
Well, there you have it. So any final thoughts for us? And then as I ask everybody, final thought, and then where can people find you all over the internet?
Mac, go ahead.
Final thought. Michigan recruiting's taking off. As much as Sharon Moore is cooking, Dusty May is also cooking. Let's go.
Big time. Big
time. Man, that guy, I tell you what, I'm already impressed with him. That's awesome.
Yes.
Little brother's down bad. Ohio State fans can't stop crying. It's a great time to be a Michigan Wolverine fan, guys.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at B1G Rivalry Team Rivalry. Right? Oh, yeah, there it is. B1G Team Rivalry.
B1G Team Rivalry.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter there. I'll be honest, I don't post a lot right now. I'm just kind of, finding other people to get in contact with on Twitter. But if you want the main content, just follow us here on YouTube. Subscribe to us. It's the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show here on YouTube. And thanks for the introduction, guys. Really great to meet you.
No, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, y'all. Go blue, and we'll see you on your videos.
Go blue.
All right, go blue. Thanks, guys.
All right. So just so much stuff going on here at the Michigan channel, and I want to thank Mark. Mark was on here a little bit ago, and he was saying some nice things. I think he said this was one of the best shows. So that's a testament to you and to Ferris and
to us, man. It's a team.
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah.
Well. So official co-host, congratulations, TJ, and we're gonna keep following recruiting with you as it heats up. But any final thoughts for the audience here, and as we wrap up?
Yeah, man, just again, really grateful and appreciative for the opportunity. Grateful to interact with the community we got here. It's a lot of fun, and I just can't wait for future shows. And go blue. We're trending up, and the Big Ten is ours. Don't give up the ship, So we're on our way, John. We're on our way.
There we go. There we go. All right, TJ, go blue, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Okay, and real quick, we do have a super chat from Minnesota Dave. I just couldn't find a good place to put it. But thank you, Minnesota Dave. Wide receiver Tyler Williamson from Georgia is transferring to Minnesota. So there you go. Very exciting Georgia recruit for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Thanks to Dependent Fanatic, and oh my God, look at this. I don't know if we're going to flip Mark over, but thank you, Corey. Yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr. is coming, and thank you for that. I do want to remind everybody, please hit the like button. There's 126 people watching between YouTube and Twix on the Mark Rogers Twitter account. So if you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on Twix, get over to YouTube and hit the like button. Okay. Either way, hit the like button and then subscribe to Michigan Football, the voice of college football. We do appreciate that. Final reminder is that, well, there's a couple things I want to quickly touch on. I have some business travel coming up. So when we have business travel, we have to shift a little bit on the programming. So next Monday, because I have put the Ocho, for those of you who know the Ocho, that show's on pause indefinitely due to life things and craziness. So I happen to have that available to do the Michigan show. So next week, 1 week only, the Michigan show is going to be Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. 1 week only, so that I can still host it. And then after that, the following week, I'll be in London. So Mark is going to be taking over as host that week. And nothing wrong with having the voice of college football host the show sometimes. That's always a treat to watch from whatever hotel I'm at that week when Mark hosts the show. And don't forget, subscriber count. Michigan is gaining on Ohio State. So subscribe to Michigan Football, the voice of college football, if you haven't already. Plot twist, next Monday, Charisse is hosting. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Let's see. All right, we do have some. What happened to the Ocho? Well, Dependent Fanatic, you've been following, so you know some of what's been going on. But between life things that have happened the last couple of weeks, and also my travels ramping up, doing 2 shows a week, I would rather focus on this one and doing it really well and executing it at the highest level I can and bringing on great guests like we had. If the Ocho comes back, it'll probably be under a slightly different format and it'll be in a different capacity. But I think we're going to focus on Michigan Wolverines live because it's really catching it's picking up some steam, and I'm really proud of everybody who's been part of the show, whether they're co-hosting, whether they're panelists, whether they're in chat and helping out in whatever way. So you, Dependent Fanatic, you and Moose are here every single week, and I really appreciate it. And Ralph is here pretty much every week too, and Nick, and you guys are awesome, and Tom, and yeah, we really appreciate all you guys. Okay, so thank you for that. Ferris is asking, just 3 more subscribers. I will even give you. How about this? I will even give you an IO if you are an OSU fan. So there's a little incentive for you Buckeyes out there. So again, we want to congratulate TJ Ronan Sports Talk for being named an official co-host, the recruiting knowledge and portal knowledge that he brings to the table, the people that he talks to, the connections. This is what I was looking for, was somebody who's a little more, who's plugged in that realm a little more, and who follows it. Moose follows it a lot too, so we try to put Moose's stuff up and bring him on from time to time. And so we appreciate TJ though, and congratulate him on being an official co-host of Michigan Wolverines Live. And finally, I'm John Diadamo, and I was your host. Check me out on Twix at John Diadamo. So that's pretty simple there. So there you go. If you want to follow me and the takes that I have, you might as well do that. I live tweet when there's stuff going on, like the spring game. I was live tweeting through most of that. The Ohio State spring game, I live tweeted. I'll probably live tweet some of the draft. So that's what we like. And then there was one more I wanted to. Rob J. Well, you know what? That's fine. You got here, and that's what's important. And you know what else? You can always we post the on demand gets posted like almost immediately. So you'll get to rewind, watch, and then we'll be distributing clips as we always do. So don't worry about that. We have your back. Don't worry, Rob. Go blue. All right, everybody. Thanks, Moose. Check peanut butter Twix. There you go. All right. I appreciate it. And the last thing I'm gonna say, because I think we've spent our time now, and I feel like we can officially say goodbye. But before we do want to just remind everybody that coming up next is Oregon Ducks Live. That's right. Now officially part of the Big Ten. Oregon Ducks Live will be airing at 10:30, and they're doing a spring game preview. So if you want to watch the spring game preview of Oregon Ducks Live, it's going to be on at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on our Oregon Ducks channel. So that's the must-see TV at the Voice of College Football. We start at 8 a.m. sharp, 8 a.m. Eastern with Wake Up College Football, and we take you all the way to the nighttime with Oregon Ducks Live. It's just a full day of football content. So check out Oregon Ducks Live in about an hour, and let them know John sent you. If you do stop by, let them know John sent you from the Michigan show, so that they know that we're supporting them, and that they feel supported and loved and all of that good stuff. All right. With that said, I'm going to say go blue and see you next time. Thanks everyone for stopping by.